This video is designed to show you how to add a Chansey to the Pokemon Center next to Nurse Joy in any Pokemon Center in the Crystal disassembly code. We're going to use Cherry Grove City as our example just because it's the closest to the starting point, so it'll be the easiest to test. So this is just the basic Cherry Grove City file that I've changed the text to, of course, for the NPC dialogue, but everything else is largely regular. So let's get started. First thing that we need to do is add a new constant for the sprite object in the object constants area at the top of the page. So I'll just paste that here. What this is just the name of the map plus the sprite that we want to use, and we can choose which sprite we're going to add in this line based on a file called sprite constants, which we can use to see all of the overworld sprites in the game. For example, we are using the fairy sprite because that coincides to Chansey, Blissey, Clefairy, many other normal type Pokemon, which I'm sure you can imagine. So we've chosen it here. Fairy. Now we need to add a new script that calls what happens when you interact with the sprite. So in our case, this will be text. And we can add this, let's add it right below the Nurse Joy script because they're standing next to each other, so it's a good logical place to add it. So what this is doing here is just saying, hey, this Chansey has a script, and the text is going to be in this variable, which we'll now write afterwards. One thing is we don't really need this jumptextfaceplayer because there's only one interactable avenue with the sprite. It's from across the counter. But something more simple like open text was giving me bugs, so I'm just going to use this because it works. If anyone's wondering why it's jumptextfaceplayer. So now what we need to do is add this text, of course. So I'll just go down to the bottom of the page and add our text, which is just going to be a simple line of code referencing the text variable that we declared in the script, as well as some actual text. So we're just going to make it say Chansey. Now we need to add the object event that pulls all this code together to make it actually interactable with in the game. And we have this code line right here that I'll paste, but I'll explain it a little more. So just throw it right here below the nurse. Make sure everything matches. And we'll go over some of the values. So these first two coordinates right here, the 4 and the 1, are relative to where the sprite will appear in the map. So we want this to just be one square to the right of Nurse Joy. So we will give it a 4 as opposed to the 3 that the Nurse Joy sprite has, with 1 remaining the same because we want them on the same lateral plane. We see here that we have the sprite fairy that we chose in sprite constants that matches the object constant at the top of the page. We have this sprite facing downwards the same way Nurse Joy would, because we only have that one avenue of interaction that's over the desk. These aren't necessarily important, whereas this 5th value that's currently a 0 can be used to determine color of the sprite. Now you can choose red, blue, green, brown, and pink. I think that's all of them. There might be one more. This is not necessarily important, but it's pretty fun to have like a blue Chansey, or a blue Chansey in your Pokecenter. So you can do that if you want, but it's not necessary. And then the next important one will just be this one. This is that script that we created right after creating the constant that called the text. And so that is what triggers when you talk to the actual Chansey. It says, hey, there's this script, and then the script calls the text, and the text runs, and then you're done. So that is how you get this basic Clefairy sprite here. But now say you wanted the Clefairy to kind of dance the way your Pokemon do in your party. Well, you can do that also. I'll show you how right now. So what you would do here is instead of using an overworld sprite, we're going to use a Pokemon sprite. And luckily they're in the same folder, sprite constants. You'll just scroll down till you get to sprite Pokemon and then choose the Pokemon that you want. In our case, this will be the Clefairy sprite. So we'll change this sprite to Clefairy, and we also have to change our object constant up here to Clefairy. Nothing else needs to change though, except the standing down data. We'll need to change this just simply to Pokemon. And then if you wanted to, you could change the color, but we're not going to do that here. And so what this does is change a stationary fairy sprite into a moving Clefairy sprite, which of course is also a Chansey or a Blissey or whatever you want it to be. And that's what this looks like. All right, I think that's it. Thanks for watching.